Peter Carroll's an interesting guy. He actually sort of starts closing down Psychonaut by giving some anecdotes. He describes his own experiences and the experiences of his fellow chaos magicians, arguing that, in fact, everything he's writing about has been discovered through practice, creating principles of magic through the practice of magic. Reading through his anecdotes, we can sort of sense his magical worldview. Energies and emotions can cause changes in the world. He sees that he's able to manipulate other human beings and their very emotions, making them trip or stand up or turn around or whatnot, just by using his psychic deployment. In chaos magic, he says, beliefs are not seen as ends in and of themselves, but as tools for creating desired effects. So if you need a new set of beliefs in order to make something happen magically, you just change your beliefs. There is no like 100% this is true, this is false. It's not like you're becoming a Catholic where there is doctrine. The doctrine is always changing, is always mutable, and always depends on the individual using doctrine and beliefs in order to make the changes he or she feels that she needs to make in the world and herself. He is able to connect to other creatures, in fact. He is able to connect to other creatures. In fact, he has this wild connection to a feral cat, even. He must, he argues, battle his psychic censor, the part of the mind that insists that fantastic possibilities are not real, but they're experienced all the time. One of the biggest difficulties, he says, for the magician is the belief that magic isn't real. You have to get rid of every part of your brain that says this isn't real and be in the space. Now, in his life, he's able to unlock all sorts of incredible, powerful pleasures and ecstasies. His senses open into astral experiences. He even describes materializing a lost set of keys. He writes on page 186, and I find this really interesting, there are just his anecdotes are just a few of the easier to explain experiences that have come my way during my years of involvement with magic. Many hundreds of instances of telepathy, precognition, coincidence, and spellcasting must go unrecorded. I no longer see these things as being strange or unusual. The greatest mystery to me now is why these things are not always accessible and available to us all the time. I consider that anybody who is prepared to strive against his own resistance to these phenomena, i.e. the psychic censor, will achieve results. Fake it till you make it, and stuff is going to happen. This is actually where the paranormal and magic interact and intersect. And I've tried to keep the paranormal out of this class because that would be a whole other class altogether about UFOs and Bigfoots and psychic powers and whatnot. The thing is, and I've seen this myself, if you practice magic, stuff starts to happen. If you cultivate psychic powers, you will find results by cultivating them. If you use divinations, somehow they will start working. In all of my years of tarot practice, I'm amazed that it all just continues to be more interesting, intriguing, and evocative over time. We practice, and what we practice, we get good at. Practicing magic requires operating in non-normative, non-material ways, non-materially oriented. And surprise, sometimes these practices cause things to happen. Now, is this just confirmation bias, as some might say, or is it like getting stronger by lifting weights? If you keep lifting weights, you will get stronger. If you do elaborate visualization techniques and you use magic rituals, stuff will start happening. It really does. Now, a lot of paranormal things do not happen to me. Hello? See, I bang my hand on the table for emphasis and it upsets the dog. Such a rough life. It's a hard life being a pug. Okay. I don't have a lot of paranormal things that happen to me, but I know people. I spend time with people who have a lot of paranormal things happen to them. If a person tells me that a paranormal event is real, I consider it real. even if it's only real for them. That's a methodological point for me. All this is to say that magic works, and magic does help structure the self in the world, transforming our limited minds into something so much more powerful and transcendent than would appear possible. Science is weird. Carroll notes that the scientific world has changed since he first wrote this book. The scientific world has embraced chaos theory in sciences and mathematics. It is incredible to me that while we live in a world that is disenchanted, where people wander around, they don't think there's ghosts and spirits and psychic powers and whatnot, that we live in a world that bases everything on materiality, on everything having material causes and results. This is the scientific world. This is a new state of humanity. It's really quite new. It's quite recent. I mean, the world has probably only been disenchanted and only thinking about material causes for 100 years, arguably only 60 years, if you notice the way that we in the United States used to do psychic research and no longer do. Now, the scientific world, the pure scientific world, vaunted since the Enlightenment as being materially oriented and being the absolute truth, is actually getting stranger and stranger and stranger. If you look at string theory, chaos mathematics, quantum physics shows a world much stranger than we would admit. And some of the dynamics being discovered are better described by the writings of mystics and magicians over time, rather than atheist tech bros microdosing so they can work longer hours. Einstein posited that there is spooky action at a distance, and that sure sounds like magic to me. So I would say, let the world be weird. I think we're happier when we're weird, when we're not just stuck in a materialist worldview. I think embracing chaos magic could make us not only happier in the world, but better able to live in the material world that seems so daunting and uninhabited. Maybe what we need is a bigger dose of meaning. Maybe what we need is to actively enchant the world around us and our material world again.